On April 7th, 2018, it snowed in Oklahoma. April! Last time it snowed this late was in the 1970s. Since 1950, the amount of carbon molecules in the atmosphere has been increasing at an exponential rate. What's worse is that 40% of the carbon will stay in the atmosphere for another 100 years and 20% for the next 1,000 years. The snowfall observed in April is a result of climate change. Climate change is caused by greenhouse gases getting trapped in the atmosphere. These greenhouse gases, such as carbon, trap and absorb sunlight reflected off of Earth. This phenomenon causes the overall temperature of the planet to increase, causing many issues such as increasing sea levels and extreme weather patterns.
According to National Geographic, in 2016, the average global surface temperature was 1.69 degrees Fahrenheit above this century's average. An increase in water temperatures can impact coral, organisms such as krill, cause higher sea levels, and create stronger storms. Warmer temperatures in the seas have caused polar ice caps to melt, which raises the sea levels. This puts several islands at risk of being taken over by water in the future. Coral will bleach, which will slow their growth and leave them susceptible to disease. And by looking at the Great Barrier Reef, which contains sections that have been declared dead, the detrimental impacts are obvious. According to Alan Roberts, Scott Seaman, and John DeLassio in an article discussing global warming claims and coverage, global warming has begun and that most of the current global warming is caused by emissions of greenhouse gases, primarily carbon dioxide from fossil fuel combustion. It is clear that global warming and climate change is a current and threatening problem. The question is, how are we going to stop this change and help preserve what is left of this wonderful planet?
A possible fix of global warming is the use of photosynthesis to take the carbon out of the atmosphere. Team Algae suggests using algae to save the world from global warming. Algae are photosynthetic microorganisms primarily found in fresh or saltwater marine environments. Algae is especially efficient at reducing the carbon dioxide into oxygen and biomass. Algae can be single microscopic cells or multicellular microscopic cells and exist in colonies or as seaweeds, such as kelp. They can grow in a wide variety of temperatures, oxygen and carbon dioxide concentrations, acidity, and turbidity depending on species. Most need to be relatively close to the surface of the body of water in order to have the best access to sunlight for photosynthesis, and through this process they provide the majority of the available oxygen in the environment for us to breathe, while simultaneously removing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Team Algae hypothesizes that if you increase the amount of algae in the world significantly, the carbon molecules in the atmosphere will decrease, thus decreasing the effects of global warming. Ultimately, Team Algae is going to save the world, so we're basically superheroes. However, this is not a fix-all solution. Algae in large numbers in water oftentimes kills the fish in that water. Many countries around the world rely on fish as a major part of their economy. And unlike Nemo, fish are friends and also food.
Fish are friends, not food.
Except stinking dolphins.
There are a few negative effects that come from using algae to lessen the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. In order to convert enough carbon dioxide into oxygen, there has to be quite a bit of algae. When there is a large amount of algae in a body of water, this can cause fish death. This happens because the algae deplete the water of oxygen that the fish need to survive. There is, however, one way that could work to help control for this and limit or keep it from happening, and that is by algae farming. There is open pond farming and vertical farming. Open pond farming consists of keeping algae in a pond altogether. This is aided by sunlight because they grow via photosynthesis. In turn, their growth and aid can decrease or stop due to bad weather. Vertical farming is another technique where they have a contraption that hangs vertically outside with bags filled with algae, carbon dioxide, and water. Photosynthesis is still in full effect and works to help the algae grow. This system of growing algae is great because growth is not stunted by environmental conditions and it saves the fish.
Along with starving fish, the amount of carbon molecules in the atmosphere will stop increasing at such an alarming rate. If the algae can fix the carbon at the same rate or at a higher rate than the carbon is produced, then the effects of greenhouse gases will be diminished.